Here we have the 7th book of the Shelley and Friends series, and this is Gemmie Accepts the Long View. The rains had come, bringing new life to the savannah. The friends had regathered from their long trips away to find water and food. They were excitedly telling each other stories of what had happened. The hard times were over. There was plenty to enjoy together, and the river was full. Esther was saying how helpful Lucinda had been when the river had dried up. Suddenly she remembered. Today was Lucinda's birthday. Hey, why don't we throw a surprise party for him? She said with a big smile. All the friends agreed this was a wonderful idea. He needs a special thank you, said Reggie kindly. He has helped us at all times. They started talking all at once about their ideas for party games and food and what each of them would like to do to say thank you. Let's do the conga! Juicy berries for food. Let's make a crown for Lucinda. I'll be the lookout as usual, announced Gemmie loudly. I'm the tallest, so I'll be good at warning you when Lucinda is coming. But the others all went quiet and looked at each other uncertainly. Started Shelley, sounding shocked. She felt her neck wanting to withdraw into her shell, but knew that she had to be brave at this moment. We've just been saying we thought you would be best at organising the water games, having long legs and pretty feet, all 4 of them. I want to be the lookout, replied Gemmie firmly. Shelley disappeared into her safe place to think a bit more about this. Ollie put one foot on her shell in a protective way. Never mind, he said brightly. Let's not worry about this and all go and get our favourite food instead. Reggie felt a bit of his angry feeling stir inside. He could see a problem coming, and he wanted to prevent it quickly. Ollie, he said with a snort of air, that won't solve the problem. We need someone to tell us when Lucinda is coming, or we shall lose the surprise and would not be ready. Ollie stretched up tall, his eyes wide. Okay, I'm waiting for a solution, he said. Zora was feeling guilty about hurting Gemmie's feelings. But rather than hide away in shame, she took a risk too, and blurted out, Maybe we could all learn something new today. Gemmie, you've been a great lookout in the past, but this time we need someone who can move fast without being seen. You are too tall for this job. Gemmie looked very upset. I could do it, chattered Monty, jumping up and swinging from a branch of a nearby tree. I can go high up in the trees. Gemmie, if you let me be lookout, then I'm sure I'll get some snacks from the higher trees that even you can't reach. But Gemmie looked even sadder. Esther was feeling emptier and emptier. Her good idea for a thank you party seemed to be slipping away. She felt down in the dumps and powerless, depressed. But then she realised that she had the power to choose instead. She decided to remind them how much they valued Lucinda. They had to work together for this. Please gather round, friends, she said gently. We have an opportunity to do something special for Lucinda. Do we all agree about that? Everyone nodded their heads. Esther continued. Sometimes, for life to go on, we have to let go of some things that we like. But then a joy can spread through everyone in that place, and something new and good then happens. They all looked at her silently, taking it in. Shelley looked up at Gemmie and said, I feel safe with you because you care. Monty is small and nimble. He's always chattering. So if Monty makes a noise that we can hear, Lucinda won't think anything is going on. Please let go of your dream and join us in ours. But Gemmie turned thoughtfully away from her friends, feeling very sad indeed. Monty thought, We've lost her. He desperately wanted to turn back. He tried again. "I was hoping I could slide down your neck into the river," he called. "I think that would be a brilliant game for us all." Gemmie turned and looked at Monty in horror. "You are kidding, of course," she said, wanting to offend him. But she nearly ended up offending the others when she said, "I'm not having Reggie and Esther climbing up on me, or anyone else." And with that, Gemmie strode off into the savannah. Gemmie wandered down to the river and started stepping back and forth across the stepping stones. She was getting horrible emotions after emotion. Water slide indeed! Whatever next? From the farthest stepping stone, however, she looked down the river. There she noticed a huge tree that had fallen into the river long ago, leaving a smooth, long trunk. Gemmie looked at it and began to accept that she was seeing life from a very different angle. The rest of the animals stood around in dismay. "This is awful," Esther groaned. "We all agreed that Monty needs to be lookout on this occasion, but Gemmie just doesn't get it." "She needs to accept it," said Zora grimly. Then Ollie chipped up. "Come on, all of you. We've got lots to do. It's up to Gemmie to play her part." "That's absolutely right, Ollie," said Reggie. "Well said. We all must put our worry aside and get on with preparing for Lucinda's surprise. So, who's going to do what?" "Yes, let's get to it," Monty said. He dived behind a tree and emerged with the end of some bunting. "I've had this hidden away and not known what to do with it," he explained. Esther collected leaves as mats. She twisted sticks together to make a crown for Lucinda. Ollie tucked some of his loose feathers into the crown. It looked very fine indeed. Zora and Reggie made a birthday banner from grass. They had all made grass skirts and long leg bands. Shelley swung off the ends of the bands to pull them tight so that they would go on even when dancing. Esther looked at the scene. "That looks wonderful," she murmured approvingly. Monty had finished hanging out the bunting. He swung from tree to tree towards the river, chattering happily to himself. Along the river bank, Jenny heard him. Then as she turned out of the corner of her eye, she saw Lucinda. She couldn't trumpet like Esther. She couldn't chatter like Monty, but she called softly. "Monty," she said, "Lucinda's coming." Monty stopped in mid-air. He landed on the ground and set off as though the trees threw a rocket, reaching the other animals in time. Gemmie's long legs allowed her to stride over to Lucinda. Together they walked towards the waiting friends. Lucinda was delighted at the wonderful surprise. Esther placed the fine crown on his head and trumpeted the music for happy birthday as quietly as she could while the others sang loudly to him. "Happy birthday to you." Gemmie stood there uncertainly at first, but soon couldn't resist joining in. She found herself smiling as she sang. "Thank you, dear friends," said Lucinda. "This truly is a magical moment for us all." Esther explained. "We've just wanted to say a special thank you to you, Lucinda. You've been a very special friend to us, and now it is our turn to do something for you." "It's time for some fun," Gemmie announced. The other friends turned to look at her, astonished at the change and wondering what she meant. "Follow me," she said, and Gemmie led the friends along to the river bank, past the stepping stones, to the place where the huge tree had fallen in. "I'm going to be a water slide," she announced. "Shelley, Monty, Zora, and even Ollie can take turns sliding down my neck," she began. "Just mind my horns." Then she turned to the others. "Sorry for being so rude earlier, my mighty friends, but you could like to have a slide down this tree into the water. Let's see who can make the biggest splash." The animals lost no time in racing towards the tree, but they all agreed that Lucinda should have the first go as the special guest. He hit the water with a huge splash and soaked them all as they stood there watching. "Last one's dinner," he winked, and they all leapt in, jumping with delight. There were lots of friendly arguments about who had made the biggest splash. "You have to accept you are excellent at organising the fun and games," yelled Monty. "Yes," agreed Gemmie, looking at the friends. "It took me a little while, but you were right after all. Now I can see that it's working out together, taking the long view." The animals continued sliding and splashing until the sun began to go down on the savannah. All agreed that it had been a very special day indeed. And that is the end of Gemmie Accepts the Long